Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. John Henry Soto here, as always, bringing you the latest entertainment in film, music, news, as well as sometimes we get into crazy topics here because everything is connected to everything else, right? So, welcome everyone to the show. As always, it's a pleasure to be here with you to discuss these topics. It's always a lot of fun for me. If this is your first time here, my name is John Henry Soto. I'm originally from New York City. I'm currently living in Nashville, Tennessee. I am a filmmaker, actor, musician, and I bring you news. I bring you news from the latest in those industries, and I do it with the help from the Dailies. The Dailies is a online publication where I have an affiliation with that basically just gives you the latest upcoming films that are coming up, the latest news that's coming up, what who's doing what project, and it's really a great publication. If you're not signed up for it, go right here. It's on the screen there. Go to readthedailies.com. It is free to join, and you get updates on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays with all the latest information. So please sign up. It's a great publication if you're interested in film, music, and finding out what kind of is mainly for film and finding out what's happening in that world. All right, so let's dive in because we got a lot to cover this morning, and it's gonna be a good one. One of the things that have always been fascinating about this world of streaming, whether it's streaming on a platform like a YouTube or streaming from a big Netflix, um, is where is it going to go? Where is the development gonna eventually land with all these like YouTube, like, for example, like all these YouTube shows that are doing really well on YouTube. Well, here's a really good key. So YouTubers are graduating to Netflix. The Sidemen, which is a show on YouTube that has 150 million subscribers, it's a British YouTube collective. They moved their reality show Inside, that's what it's called, from YouTube to Netflix for season two. It was drawn by Netflix deep pockets and mainstream reach. So this is part of the thing that I think is going to happen. Obviously, Netflix has much deeper pockets than their 150 subscribers are getting now. i- it's kind of how much control is Netflix going to have, because the reason the show was successful, and I've never even seen the show. I don't even know what the show is about, but it's a British show. Apparently, it's obviously it's very successful. But is this something that they're going to have to give in to Netflix's direction? Are they going to be losing their own identity because they decided to go with the deep pockets? Now, it's only season two, meaning that they just started. So they had one successful season. It was so successful that they got 150 million subscribers. Um, so it looks like, it's paying off because Netflix's season two season two for Inside reached 1.3 million UK households versus the 967,000 for YouTube's season one. So they're getting more viewers, but how much control do they have? Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Netflix's hands off creative approach let the Sidemen keep control while accessing premium production values and family audiences. Okay, so it's a family show. That's good to hear. 68% of Netflix viewers had kids versus 40% on YouTube. We've hit the limit of what we can achieve on YouTube, the group said, seeking to future proof their brand as they age out of their target demographic. Except to see more of these platforms. Oh, yeah. So that's where the sentence ends. It's the first time I'm reading this. I should read it beforehand, but it was a little bit late and I was a little bit tired. But anyway, here we go. So it says, expect to see more of these platform jumps as streamers ramp their courtship of digital creators. That is what's going to happen. Amazon just dropped a reported $300 million on upcoming seasons of Mr. Beast's show, while Netflix is rumored to be courting Mark Rober and Dude Perfect. I know Dude Perfect, actually. So there you have it. So I think the key thing on this, and maybe Netflix has the right idea of this whole hands-off creative approach kind of idea, and that needs to be in the contract, right? When you're signing a contract like this, especially for, I'm sure it's a lot of money, setting these guys up for financially for the rest of their careers, but also providing the brand security and securing the brand. I think that's going to be a major, major factor to what they're going to be doing in the future. Um, Not just for this show Inside, but it's going to be for other shows as well. I mean, just the fact that Mr. Beast is you know $300 million that Amazon just dropped for Mr. Beast's show. I mean, he's the biggest net YouTuber right now uh, anywhere, and so that to me tells you that the deep pockets of these major platforms, they know where people are going. This is what and I talk about this on this show all the time. People, you know, they know where people. These organizations know where the views are. They're not going to be spending their ad dollars anymore on places where they're not. And this is why legacy media has been dropping drastically. I just did a show on this, on the fact that um, Colbert was dropped, right? And they said, well, they say, yeah, well, he was number one. Well, it's not about number one. They're all crashing. So they're losing millions and millions of dollars. He might have been number one, but it's like he's number one to all the guys that are at the bottom because there's nobody viewing these shows. I mean, think about this for a second. This show, The Inside, had 1.3 million UK household versus the 967. Well, the Colbert Show, I think, had like 1.6 million per night. What? Well, I mean, that's not any better. And they're paying $20 million to Colbert, and I think that's what they were doing. So they're looking at it financially. People say, well, no, I don't think it's financial. It was political because he made some statement about Trump or whatever. I mean, dude, he's been making statements about Trump since day one. That's all he does. That's his whole act is just knocking anybody that's against the whatever narrative that they're pushing. So it's like that's not a new thing. It's not a new thing. They say, "Oh, well, we need to investigate to see if they had anything to do with it." Shut up. What are you investigating, bro? You're not investigating anything. There was no money there. They're losing money. Advertisers like Tide and McDonald's, they're not going to put their dollars where nobody's going. They're going to put their dollars where people are going. And where are people going right now? They're streaming. They're streaming on Netflix. They're streaming on Amazon. They're streaming on YouTube. That's where they're putting their dollars. And that's what we're going to expect to see the future. It's already been proven here by Amazon just spending $300 million on Mr. Beast's show. So there you go. It's crazy, crazy stuff happening. Now, I believe YouTube is in the news again. Um, as we know, YouTube a couple of weeks ago put out a statement that they will not be paying. This is our second news story of the morning here. That they will not be paying AI creative content on their channels, which makes sense because they're not human. The prompts that people put into these videos, it's not fair that they can just go into some big giant mainframe computer, put in a couple of prompts and get a fully completed video and post it up on YouTube and then get monetized on that. So they're no longer monetizing AI created videos. Bravo, YouTube. Now, for music, I would say Spotify should get on board because now there are bands on Spotify that do not exist, that are not real bands, that are out there making money, millions of streams. Somebody is making that money off of these fake bands. It just doesn't seem to be fair. Now, they can tell you they don't care because people don't care. I mean, as long as they're making money, there are certain people. Um, that's not a large percentage, but there are a small amount of people that do not care how they make money. They just want to make the money, right? And they get into these positions of power, and they realize, oh, we can create a whole fake band with photos and and eventually a music video, um, brand new songs, whole new album that they basically put together in a few minutes with a couple of prompts that they put in their computers. They upload them. So now there's no songwriting, there's no artistic anything, and the songs are really bad. The songs are very they're basically stolen from what's out there already. So if you tell it to do a pop thing, it's going to sound like whatever is kind of pop right now, whatever is popular right now. And that's and the songs are not good. The songwriting is not good. It's not terrible. None of it is terrible. And I think to the average listener, they can somebody who really is not really into music could listen to it and go, wow, that sounds really good. They're not really listening to the nuances as a musician would. Somebody who loves music, who can really feel where these lyrics are going, and see that this is a very contrived just from what's out there right now, and it's put together very weakly. So there's a new bill that wants to put AI companies on the hook for using creators' work. So this is a little bit of a different thing. I just wanted to bring up those two subjects, YouTube and Spotify. But this is a little bit of a different thing. So what's happening now is Senator Josh Hawley and Richard Blumenthal introduced bipartisan legislation that would ban AI companies from training their models on copyrighted work or personal data without explicit consent, giving creators the power to sue for unauthorized use. Makes sense. Um, this is what they're doing. This comes on the heels of a court ruling last month that gave AI companies broad legal cover to train on copyrighted material under fair use doctrine. This is how they're kind of getting away with it. Essentially, letting them buy a single book and upload its entire content to their training database rather than negotiating expensive license deals with publishers. This would hit the brakes on that, forcing AI companies to pony up and pay for the creative work they're currently getting for free. So this is what they're doing. They're grabbing these books, from Amazon. They're buying it for whatever you can buy an Amazon book for, a dollar, $10, whatever it is that the book is for. They're uploading this whole book onto their database and then extracting the content from it and creating their work based off of it, completely stealing, basically. So, of course, there was, uh, these copyright this court ruling last month that gave AI companies this broad legal coverage to use it under fair use doctrine. Fair use is when you can use a piece of content. Well, let me give you a better definition, right? Um, so, fair use is a legal doctrine in the US copyright law that allows limited use of copyrighted materials without permission from the copyright holder for purposes like criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research. So, what I'm doing right now could be considered, although no, it's not, because I got permission from the site that I use, which is called the dailies, right? But like, let's say I was taking a story and I was doing a story from Time Magazine, that wonderful publication, a piece of garbage. But anyway, let's just say I'm using their stories and I'm saying, hey everybody, so this is Time Magazine and I'm showing it to you right now, and I'm reading from Time Magazine and I'm using their material to tell a story, to educate people on something. So that would be allowed. But what they're doing is completely different. They're taking this Time magazine, extracting all the information from it via technology, via online, uploading all the words of that into their database, and then creating content based off of it and saying it's creative. It's a brand new thing, calling it their own, calling it like it's like there was nobody else involved. So that means that there's no there's no negotiation of like, hey, you're using all my materials. You can't just do that. The copyrighted anything that's copywritten is up for grabs. Anything that would be a personal data, like your life story, can be told in a film, in content on YouTube, because they grab your life, your book. Let's say you wrote a book about your life, you wrote a biography. They took it and they're going to completely, you know, just take your life and create a whole series of things, of content and videos from your book. It's completely not okay. They're not paying any they're not negotiating any licensing fees. They're not talking to the publishers. They're not doing anything. And this is where AI is sort of right now in the wild, wild west of it. And I've done at least 3 to 4 shows on AI and the impact that it's having on the industry, in the film industry, in the music industry. Is it going to be around for a while? Yes, it's going to be a tool. It's going to be a tool that people are going to use. People are using it right now. The AI videos that are being put out right now by like Google 3, by VO3, I should say, that's by Google. They're out there. There are a lot of glitches on it with the eyeballs. If you ever see a video and the people's eyeballs are really, really like this, like really big, it's because the AI on it sucks. Just so you know, there, it's just all AI. And the videos are kind of funny. Some of them are funny. Some of them are over the top, outrageous, having a gorilla talking and stuff like that. It's like that's the best they can do right now. Um, and but it is gonna get better, and people are gonna use it to promote their work. They're gonna use it to promote, especially I think a lot of the companies that are gonna do it are probably drug companies are gonna do it. I think it's easier for them to put a 15 to 30-second commercial promoting some kind of poison that they're trying to get everybody to buy, and it's going to be a lot cheaper for them. They don't have to pay for the actors, the camera crew, the editors, the lighting people, the craft services, millions and millions of dollars. They could just hire somebody to do some prompts, and they get a couple of videos. They probably can get 100 videos in a day published out there and pushed to continue their havoc on the world. So I think that's going to happen. A few other companies are going to come in and do the same kind of thing. So that's where AI is going right now. I think as a filmmaker, what you need to do, what we all need to do is, and this is again all my opinion. I'm just this is my opinion. Educate yourself on how AI can make your work better and faster, because I think that's really the benefit of AI. The fact that you can render, uh, if you're doing some color correction on your project, and you can render it quickly, and you can prompt it to, hey, make my film look like The Godfather, or make my film look like this film, make my film look lighter, bring it darker, correct all the audio on my film, and just hit a prompt and just hit a thing, and it'll actually render it fairly quickly. That used to take a lot of time. Our job's going to be lost? Absolutely. It's already happening. It's already happening. People are gonna, you can argue, you can scream all you want. Nobody gives a crap. It's gonna happen. And if you don't get yourself educated on it, you're just gonna be one of the bitter people that's sitting at home saying, yeah, I was doing it, but then AI came in and took over everything. And then that's just gonna be another excuse. And it's not really fair to you, and it's not fair to your audience that's out there waiting for your material. People are waiting for us to do stuff. Trust me, they are. There's also a lot more platforms now that we could use to put our content on. There's a lot more productions happening. There's a lot of things happening, but they're going to be using AI. It's not coming. It's here, and getting on board is important. Getting yourself educated on what's happening with AI as a filmmaker, as a musician, as any type of artist, understanding how it works and understanding how you can use it, or how you can be better than it, and how you can overcome the fact that it's here, because it is here. And for film, I say color correction. You can maybe even do it a little editing. Now, with editing is not an AI thing. Editing is a spiritual art form, in my opinion. I mean, that may sound cheesy, but how you navigate through a story and how you build that arc for an audience comes from the soul, comes from someone understanding transitions, understanding the human condition. Remember, AI does not understand human conditions. This is why a lot of those videos that you see that AI puts out look like really bad actors, because they don't have the sensibilities to be human and to say things the way a human would say them. They just don't have that because they're not human. Duh. And it's not gonna, if somebody says, be confused when the person says this line to, have this one character be confused when this character says this one particular line, and they hit the prompt. The computer is going to be like this. That's how it's going to act, because that's confusion. What? A human does not act that way. A human can be, if you watch Silence of the Lambs, okay, when you see Anthony Hopkins talking to oh gosh, what's her name? I blanked out. Um, Anybody know? Jodie Foster. It just came to me. So when you talk about Jodie Foster's look, when Anthony Hopkins starts talking to her, and Clarice's gives this little, like, you could just see it in her eyebrows. It's very subtle, but she's this confusion, but she's trying to be bold because she's trying to stand up to this serial killer, you see the eyebrows and you see this. That's human. That's an amazing performance. That's an Academy Award winning performance, right? So these are the kind of things that we have to understand that AI is not going to master. So don't think that anything is over because AI is here. Think that we have a new tool to help us. Yes, there are going to be jobs that are going to suffer from it, unfortunately. But human actors are always going to be needed. I guarantee you, if they're not needed, it's going to be for probably another 100 years, 200 years, and even then, somebody's going to want a human. You know, it's my opinion. Um, can you imagine AI running the country? Probably will do a better job because it's only going to make things for the greater good, depending on what you put into it. See, because remember, all this stuff is whatever humanity puts into this computer, that's what happens. So if you look at Space Odyssey, right? The computer, whatever the computer had, it had to protect itself and it had to destroy anything else. So, but yeah, that's part of what I think we should be doing. We should be educating ourselves on it. We should be utilizing the tools, and we should be trying to figure out how we can stay creative and keep writing and keep casting and keep putting out your films. Continue to do that and figure out how AI can help you do it better. That's what I think should happen. All right. Our last story um, is about Canada. Now, why am I talking about Canada? Well, Canada has been a really, really great place for a lot of indie projects, film projects. People have been going up there because of the cheaper production costs. So, but that's changing right now. So Canada's film advantage is fading with the falling, with the failing, with the falling dollar. The greenback has dropped about 5% against Canadian dollar 2025, chipping away at the currency advantage that has long lured American studios north of the border for cheaper production costs. Canadian producers are beginning to see a slowdown in U.S. service work, especially for lower budget TV movies and indie projects, as Hollywood's purchasing power dips while film tax credits and local talent still make Canada attractive. Some producers are keeping an eye on a potential breaking point. If If the dollar continues falling, the shift is if the dollar continues falling, the shift is already nudging Canadian filmmakers. The shift is already nudging Canadian filmmakers to choose co-production partnerships, and seeking financial financing from emerging markets like Saudi Arabia, signaling a potential reshaping of North America's production landscape. So the $750 million tax break, that tax incentive, I should say, that California just imposed about a month ago, it's just not enough. It's kind of a joke considering what they've done, because the state is run so poorly, and the film industry is being strangled. There's about 60% of all these studios are not even being utilized right now. As a matter of fact, CBS, the large CBS building, the famous CBS building where all those amazing shows were shot, is now being rented out to streamers, to content creators, to to YouTubers. That's basically what is being used now. That major historical building. It's sort of like if you're from New York City and you know Rockefeller Center. So Rockefeller Center is NBC, right? And that's where all the programs, Saturday Night Live and all the news networks, that's where all they get shot in NBC, in the Rockefeller Plaza, right? Rockefeller Studios. That's like saying that building is no longer used for anything. It's just going to be used for YouTubers, and Mr. Beast will have a floor, and this other new show over here called what was it called again? Inside, also have a floor. So that's basically what it's like. So if you can imagine what's happening in California for smaller productions, how can a lower budget TV movie or an indie project afford anything in Hollywood? Now with the $750 million tax break, maybe they can do better there, because 750 for a major studio is not much. Um, but for a smaller production, maybe it'll be a positive thing, and keep the smaller productions there. But Canada is going to be, it was the go-to place. Not just Canada, but New York has a really good tax incentive program for filmmakers. So does Atlanta, Georgia, basically, and especially around the Atlanta area, which is where Tyler Perry is and his big, giant, massive studio. And there's a lot of productions going on down there as well. Tennessee has some stuff where I am right now: Nashville, Knoxford, Memphis, Chattanooga, and the list goes on and on about studios opening up and places just being available with much better breaks. So why not move? I mean, imagine I heard that it was cheaper to fly all your actors and house them for the 2 to 3 months that you're shooting a film than to just shoot it right there where everyone is already in California. Can you imagine that? I mean, that's insanity. So that's changing. And by the way, I talked about this yesterday. I want Hollywood to succeed. Hollywood is an institution that's important to the to life of a filmmaker. It's where actors always go. They go to Hollywood, right? They go to Hollywood. And I mean, so Hollywood is a romantic thing that we love to talk about Hollywood, and we want it to be around. The reason it's struggling right now has nothing to do with Hollywood. I mean, yes, there was the DEI programs that have ruined a lot of films and franchises. And unfortunately, that's just a very small, tiny percentage that pushed that DEI thing. But for some reason, that little voice became a massive thing. So I think that that's going away as we've seen all the failures of those films. Now, now we know that that's going away. But there are some films that are still coming out because they were shot during that era of the DEI height, when they thought that was going to save their money, like a Snow White and kind of things like that tanked. Well, I think now what's happening is that we want Hollywood. I lost my train of thought, but we want Hollywood to continue. We want Hollywood to be able to continue with those with projects, and we want them to expand. But now that we've seen that the AI has failed, now the new productions, it's not just that. That's what I was saying. It's not just that the films were poor. It's that the state is run poorly. That's really a main issue as well. There's a lot of, I don't want to go into what's happening in California. Just turn on the news or just go there. I have friends that live there. They can tell you. I have filmmaker friends that live there. They can tell you. And all the people that have moved out of there as well can tell you. All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I've gone over. Usually I keep this about 30 minutes, but I've gone over. I think I had a lot to talk about, a lot to say. So I hope you found this valuable. I hope you found it useful. I do need to get some more prompts in there. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel here. It's a brand new channel that we have here on YouTube, and I hope we get support. I've done about 10 films of my own. I've been in film festivals, and I have some more stuff happening. I'm also an actor signed with Talent Track Agency here in Nashville, in Tennessee, actually. And I love film, and I love to talk about it, and I love to help any way that I can. So if there's anything that I can do to help, please send me an email at john@jhstalentmanagement.com. And I will be more than happy to talk to you and see if there's anything that I can do to help. All right, friends. Thank you very much for tuning in this morning. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Take care. God bless you all. And as always, peace.